Shalom. This is Yair Davidiy giving you JNews number 5, speaking to you from Brit-Am, which neighbours or could well also be part of Bethlehem in the biblical sense, and we are giving you news items from Israel associated with the land of Israel and other matters. First of all, recently there was incidents with Irish soldiers attached to the UN peacekeeping forces in Kunitra. Kunitra was a Syrian village, a Syrian city in effect. Most of it is now controlled by Israel, part of it is still controlled by Syria. And recently jihadist rebels fighting against the Syrians also took control over it. They overran part of it. This I'm talking about the last couple of days. They also overran part of it. They took into captivity Fijian peace soldiers from the UN. 45 of these soldiers are still missing. They also attempted to take into captivity a large number of Filipino troops. These Filipino troops were rescued, freed by the action of Irish. We also have a large contingent of Irishmen in the area. And apparently there was also an attempt by the Irish to free an additional group of Fijians taken into captivity by these jihadists. We're not certain exactly what happened. That maybe that an ambush was planned. At all events, according to intelligence reports, the Irish were saved from a massacre, from being wiped out and all killed, or partly killed and partly taken into captivity. It was not for the Israelis to supply them with intelligence that obviated this disaster. The Israelis in effect saved Irish lives. And this should be known because in Ireland there's a lot of anti-Israeli sentiment, and there's also have been complaints about how the Israeli troops in previous decades have treated Irish peacekeeping forces in Lebanon. So this should make up for it. There should be some type of reconciliation between the Irish people and the Israeli people, because the Irish people in part are also descended from Israel. They are the brothers to the Jews, and they should recognize this, and this should be made known to them. And they are not the only ones. Also many peoples in the West are also descended from Israelites, and they too are brother nations to the Jewish people. A correspondent of ours, Clifford Riley in England, but originally from Ireland, he gives a report that in Ireland itself there's a large number of Muslims. Some of these Muslims are jihadists, taken to desecrating Irish heritage sites, as reported in the press, and also reported by Druid groups and people who are attached to these sites. One of the major sites, the Liya Fael, which is actually a rock upon which the kings of Ireland were coronated, were consecrated. The high kings of Ireland were consecrated by this rock for hundreds of years, generation after generation. And there have been 2 attempts to desecrate it. Paint has been spilt over it, and a sledgehammer has been taken to it. And apparently the Muslim jihadist fanatics are behind these acts of attempted desecration. The Prime Minister Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has said that Syria has committed a crime against humanity with its use of chemical weapons, and that these weapons should be, this chemical ability should be taken out of the hands of Syria. An independent body should take control of it. This in effect would mean that an independent body take control of the whole country. And the only group that could do this and be internationally accepted in the doing would be a body comprised of soldiers and forces from the USA, from the UK, from Australia, New Zealand and such like nations. And many of these peoples are descended from the lost tribes of Israel. So there could be some biblical significance in this, and even the very concept, the very notion of doing such a thing in real political terms, as that being the optimum solution, is in itself significant. Incidentally, the Arabs are rioting throughout Israel. Yesterday they burnt a gas station in French Hill. There was a danger that the underground and the above ground petroleum tanks would blow up and cause a general disaster. Thank God nothing happened, but the gas station itself was destroyed, just destroying the livelihood of the owners and of the workers there, and a lot of trouble was caused. Also, in Jerusalem they have a new light railway line, a tram line, which is very good, very efficient, very pleasing to the inhabitants, very useful. It is new. So 1/3 of the lines of this railway line have been destroyed by Arabs in their rioting, rendering a good portion of it useless for the moment. We have Proverbs. We have reached Proverbs chapter 20, verses 22 to 24. The overall theme of these verses is that we should recognize God as being the boss of everything. God is in control. Proverbs 20 verse 22 says, "Do not say, I will repay evil. Wait for the Lord and He will help you. Wait for God and He will do it. Let Him do it. Don't react to every provocation." This can apply in politics in the international arena, but also may also apply to us in our daily lives, in our dealings with our neighbours and with people at work and people on the street. I don't know where. Do not react to every provocation. Do not take every insult or every slight to heart. Keep your anger and your vengeance for matters that really need dealing with. Otherwise, let God deal with it and trust Him. He will do it. Everyone gets what they deserve at some stage or other. And this is what Proverbs is saying. We have Proverbs 20 verse 23, "Differing weights are an abomination to the Lord, and full scales are not good." Differing weights, measurements, scales, differing weights are an abomination to God. God despises them, He hates them, has them in contempt. Do not cheat other people. Also, do not be prejudiced against other people. Take people as they are. Let people, give them a chance. Let them express themselves. Let them do what they can without prejudgmental prejudices influencing how you deal with them, how you relate to them. We have verse 24, Proverbs verse 24. "All our steps are ordered by the Lord. How then can we understand our own ways?" Translated literally, more literally from the Hebrew. This is better translated or rendered as saying, "From the Almighty are the steps of a male. And how then can a man understand his own way?" In other words, God decides everything. We do what we can, we plan and we endeavour and we strive. But the bottom line, final decision is that of the Almighty. And we should realise this and to have this in our consciousness and to realise that God Almighty is the Father and He is the Director and He is in control. May the Lord God of Israel bless all of you. Thank you.